Hello, my beautiful sisters. Welcome to another day at the Startup HERpreneur Summit. And today we have Maria Aleandra Rodriguez, a Latina female entrepreneur. So I'm happy to have her on here. She's half Puerto Rican, half Cuban. She lives in Miami, which is where I'm from. And I was like, yes, so happy about this news right now. Maria did her own summit called Rock Your Life. And today our title is Rock Your Life in Business, because she is a certified life and business coach. And she helps women in general get clarity, take inspired action, and results as they move forward in their dreams and goals with confidence, authenticity, and passion. So she is super duper aligned to what I believe in, what we've been focusing on in this entire time. And I'm super excited to have her on here today while she talks about momentum and inspired action. This is going to be so awesome. And it's like, exciting. So here she is. Clap, clap, clap. Say hi.
Hi, Jaslyn. Oh my God. Thank you for that awesome intro. I am so excited to be here. I'm getting chills and tingles because, like you said, I just wrapped up my very own online summit show extravaganza, just like what you're doing here. And now I get to be on the other side, which is like such a proud moment. Thank you for the invitation. I am so excited to dive into this today. I'm passionate about this topic as well. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And Maria, I'd love to learn a little bit more about your story before we really get into the nitty gritty here. And then we can talk all you want about momentum and all that jazz.
Awesome. Yes. So quick story. Like she said, born and raised in Puerto Rico, eventually made my way after college in Puerto Rico to Los Angeles, where I started working with a big broadcasting company and worked with that company for nearly 16 years in branding, marketing, up until a senior level position within the team. And early last year, I was laid off. Changes in the company and stuff happening. So I unfortunately was part of that process of them shifting things around. And what it did really was it opened up an opportunity for me to pursue something that I had been dreaming about and wishing and wanting to do for a long time. At that time, I had been certified as a life and business coach for 5 years. I'd taken this amazing program through the University of Miami. And I didn't really do it, full time. I was obviously working my very demanding corporate job, but I had those skills and I had that desire to embark in that life. Wasn't quite sure how that was going to happen. And then the universe kind of shifted things around for me when the more intentional I started to get about what I wanted to create, the more sort of things started to happen that were very synchronistic, like, okay, I get it. Like I started to see the path. And then finally it sort of, that moment was the catalyst for me to really say, all right, make a choice at that time of what I wanted to do. And so I had, like many of your audience members might have at this point, I had a decision to make at that point. I could either go the route of finding another traditional job in marketing and branding, stay the corporate route, or I could launch my own business, and was both thrilled and terrified at the opportunity to do that. And so, but I said, you know what, this is the time. I felt very called. So I didn't even send a single resume out to like get another sort of traditional job, even though I fully believe in the power of rocking your traditional job as well. I'm very passionate about that message. But for me, it was important to explore what it would be like to go on my own, to really design my life on my own terms, design my business on my own terms. I had a 1-year-old son. He's now 2. I wanted to spend more time with him. I wanted the ability to just work with the flexibility and all the passion and the desire and the perseverance that I have within me for a cause that was greater than what I was doing before. And so I launched as a coach and began to build my business, and now was able to launch Rock Your Life, which was absolutely incredible experience. Yay. And continue to grow and get my message out there. So, and now I'm a guest on Jaslyn's summit, my very first guest appearance on a summit. Pinch me.
How life works, right? The cycle.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty wild.
Well, just to let you know, I am super happy to have you here. And it's obvious that you had a clear vision, right? You knew exactly what you were doing, even though your life was a complete debacle for a little bit. You're like, okay, so no resume. Let me keep moving forward. This is my dream and this is what's going to happen. And you did. You did it, and you created huge momentum. You made your own little summit, for that matter. So for anyone else that's listening here and is like, yes, how do I follow these 2 footsteps? Like, is it only the summit way, or is there something else that I could do? What do you recommend, and how can they move forward?
Yeah, I love that. So definitely not only the summit way. The summit was part of my growth process as a coach, and in my visibility, and in allowing a broader audience to get to know me. But I think it all really starts with, like you said, it's crystallizing the vision, getting really clear on what it is that you aspire to do, and getting brave enough to articulate that, even if you have no idea how it's going to materialize. Like that's key, is to begin to really open up the conversation with yourself to know what you want. I often find that we are most scared to, like, it's like, accept to our own selves what we really want to do. So we keep it bottled up, we keep it kind of hidden. It's like this little box of possibility and ideas that we have, but we don't think it's practical, or we have the experience of, oh, the external world is going to judge me for it. They're going to think it's not this, that. And so the first step that we need to do is get very clear and brave with ourselves to articulate what it is that we want and create a vision for what we want to create. So that for me started about 3-4 years ago, when I sat down during a challenging period in my personal life, that I was like, okay, who do I get to be? Who do I get to be that, in order to feel extremely proud and like I'm fully living and embodying the type of woman that I want to be in the world? And that's when I began to express, and I did it through coaching. I did it through resources that really supported me in articulating a clear idea of what my sort of dream life was all about. And then at that point, you're still sort of like, how am I going to do that? Okay, well, then you begin to build momentum by taking small, tiny steps towards it. And at first, the tiny steps have to do with doing something like this, joining a summit where you're getting information from a bunch of incredible women who have been on the same path. And you have Jaslyn as a supporter on your side, kind of showing you the way, motivating and inspiring you. So you begin to build confidence in terms of what is possible for you, because you see other people that have done it. That was a huge one for me, is I had to seek out, I call them my virtual teachers. I sought out whether it was, coaches that I found on doing videos on YouTube, or obviously a ton of books. Just like you, I'm a total nerd. I love reading. I love like absorbing information. So I made myself, I said I enrolled myself in soul school. That's what I called it. I was like, I was diligent. I'd always been into self-development and this idea of self-mastery, but I really took it seriously at that time. And what that began to build was more confidence and more, I could really see, and I had examples of other women that had done it before me. And that still, without having all the steps of how to get, all the way to the end of my sort of ultimate vision, I was able to begin little by little to take inspired action. So the summit even is a product of me putting myself in the container of growth, in a container of who can I follow? Who can I, like, I call it a lot of times, especially when you're in a moment in your life when you're just like, I don't know what to do. It's like, borrow the belief of someone else who is standing for your greatness. And there's so many women out there that are standing for each other's greatness. So if you're in a funk, just kind of borrow that belief and that energy from someone else that you see, that you feel attracted to, you feel like magnetized to. There's something there for you to learn.
Yeah.
So that to me is the first step, for sure. It's just putting yourself in that frame of mind of, what do I really want to do? And believing that it's possible.
Yeah, a lot of people that I've been hearing in this interview and on all that jazz, they've been focusing on how to feel. Like the first step normally is feeling that confidence, and even if it's yes, like breathe it in, know that it's part of you, and if you're seeing it in somebody else, know that it's just a feeling that you can also feel at times too. And when someone says like, I am a confident woman, it doesn't mean that they're confident all the freaking time. They're just confident at those specific times. And that's what matters. And you learning how to do that, right? Everything's a habit and everything learns through time, right? So thank you for that. That was beautiful. Now, when it comes to getting clear on your life and your business and designing it, so you said to start off with getting someone or following someone in particular, for example, this summit, right? And then what's the next step after that? Now that you have kind of a base and you're like, okay, this is what I want. Is the next step just taking action and going for it?
So, so first you begin to inform yourself, begin to gather information, you begin to see what's possible out there. And then you really have to just literally begin putting things down on paper. It's like I remember back when I was in this transition, I had a journal that I whipped out, and I've always loved journaling and all that stuff, but I had a specific journal, and I said, okay, this is where I'm going to put all the things, all the thoughts that come up. And I did that, and slowly but surely it helped me really begin to hone in on what is it that I wanted to do. Because when I first, when I had that moment of like fork in the road of what do I do, I had a bunch of different ideas. And that's something that I'm sure you're attracting a group of women here who are multi-passionate.
Definitely.
And want to do hashtag all the things. I'm definitely in that club. So I was like, all right, there's so many things that I could do, want to do, could possibly be good at. And I knew obviously I couldn't do them all. I had to really focus. So I'm also big on like focus versus fragmentation. So the first exercise is like, well, dump everything that you think you want to do, all the things that inspire you, and then begin to whittle them down and identify, another really important sort of baseline step here is there's a lot of things we want to do, but we have to get really clear about what's a hobby versus what's a business, especially when we're starting something up. And there are absolutely hobbies that can turn into a business, but there has to be a very clear, also like business-minded focus that bridges the gap between what's something that you're just passionate about and you just love to do and something that can actually sustain you financially and create abundance in your life. Like that's something that is, and I'm sure that you're touching upon with your experts here because it's pivotal. It's that business mindset, which might sound a little intimidating, but it's not. It's just basically, and again, there's so many resources to be able to take you from that. I'm so passionate to, all right, well, how do I turn this into a practical, how do I begin to explore what this might be in a business sense? Yeah. So that's all an exercise and exploration in beginning to focus in on what it is that you want to do, what lights you up, and a lot of it's a combination of inner work. So getting to know yourself really intimately, and also beginning to take the baby steps into inspired action, which is kind of the next step. Because what I find is that a lot of times we get stuck in that stage of, again, the wishing and the wanting and the filling stuff in journals, and then it's like this invisible wall that blocks us from one spot to the next. And to me, breaking that invisible wall requires building momentum. So that would be the next step to get into. But first we talked about getting inspired. Then we talked about, all right, let's begin to get clear, just literally like write stuff down, begin to focus on what might really light you up and could be sustainable, and then take it from there.
So getting clear is really getting focus on just one thing. Like women have tons of ideas and there's tons of things going on in here, but figuring out one idea to actually implement, and the rest, it doesn't mean you have to throw them away, but you can kind of incubate them in the back and just know, okay, this is the one that's going to get me the best results with the best information, with the best momentum possible, ASAP, and with the best that I know right now. And then move from there. And then little by little, you can start taking care of all your other little ideas. Correct?
100%. Again, focus versus fragmentation allows us to really begin to actually create something. If we want to, like, think about it in energy, it's like you're either lasering in and honing in on something that really matters to you, and putting in all your time, your energy, your intention, your willingness, or you're fragmenting yourself because you're and a lot of the fragmentation happens because of to fail in certain areas. So we think that if we diversify, then, we won't fail as bad. No. But then what happens is we're not really building roads towards something that is actually going to happen. Like you get stuck in this pattern of not really creating powerfully towards a goal. And so what you said is exactly on point. It's that idea of choosing one thing, really, truly. It's not disregarding all your other beautiful ideas, but it's choosing one thing and moving towards it with so much intention and self-discipline and commitment that you actually begin to see the fruits of that labor, and that then builds the confidence to continue doing more. So that's so key.
So to everything that's been going on throughout the summit thus far, and really mixing in with this, we've had people talk about podcasts and courses and, gaining Instagram and Facebook groups and everything else you could possibly imagine, and branding and I'm pretty sure a bunch of the ladies that have been doing this, even if they've been doing that one action step per interview, are probably a little freaked out, right? And I believe right now it's, yes, you've listened to all this. Yes, you have the knowledge now, which is what Maria's talking about. The idea is to it all in. And now that you have all this, just pick one and go from there. And now my next question for you, Maria, is now that it's time to take action. They've listened throughout the summit. They're super excited. What is the difference between action and inspired action?
I love that. And great way to capture all that, because all those are mechanisms.
Yeah.
And the mechanisms are the doing, right? So there's the doing and then there's the being. And this is what is going to lead us into inspired action. So mechanisms are doing. That's your Instagram, your marketing, your ideal audience, your podcasts, all the ways that are going to gain you visibility and give you traction in your business, which are all super critical. If not, we wouldn't have a business. Mm-hmm. The inspired action comes from the being. Right? So it's, who do I get to be as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a woman who wants to create impact in the world, as a woman of generosity, as a woman of creativity, as a woman that wants to spark other people's joy and other people's power? Who do I get to be? And so when we dive into that deeper sense of who we truly are, not what we're doing, but who we are being, right? So there's a distinction between, there's like a to-do list, then this is the to-be list. So the to-be list is what fuels the inspiration to take the right action. So that when you are making a decision between, okay, I'm sitting here in my business and I'm deciding to either focus on launching a podcast or really, being very connected and diligent in my Instagram account, or I'm going to seek out and interview an amazing woman who's inspired me and put her out. So I'm deciding what mechanism to go with, right? So how do I know the inspired action is, instead of focusing so much on the doing that's going to get you there, like that's all critical, but focus back in on what is your ultimate intention for what you want to create and who you want to be in this process. And the more information you have on each mechanism, which is what's great about a series like this, that now you have all these tools at your fingertips, and maybe you're not doing the podcast now, you're doing it in 6 months, so you can refer back to that. You have all this information. Now it's a matter of, instead of throwing everything on the wall, like really moving from a place of trusting without knowing exactly what the ultimate, you could start a podcast and maybe it's not what's going to move the needle for you. That's okay. But you took inspired action towards it. You were intentional about it. You designed your podcast in a way that you feel incredibly proud of. You move that forward, and you move it with enough momentum and intention to allow it to exist and breathe and live. Because ladies, building a business takes time. Yeah. And building visibility takes time. The beauty of this is that when you're an entrepreneur, you can make decisions very quickly. You can take action very quickly. Like from one day to the next, you could decide to do something new. That's the awesome. One of the things I love about being an entrepreneur. It's like from one day to the next, I can totally reinvent whatever it is that I'm working on. But don't get caught in the potential self-sabotage of moving towards something and then it maybe didn't work the way you expected it to. Perfectionists, raise your hand. Perfectionist club.
Yes.
Exactly. Everybody, right? I know everybody that you're attracting here, Jaslyn, is probably speaking that language. We have a lot of high expectations, right? So we move in a direction, we do something, and we are expecting it to like be awesome. And it may not. We may not fill that course. We may not sell that online product. We may not sell that physical product. We may only get one person reading our blog post. That's okay. Like if you can move past that okay, I did this. Maybe didn't get the right result. How can I tweak, figure it out, and continue to take inspired action towards moving that forward without giving up on it? That's what's going to end up really giving you the results, because it does take time and it takes perseverance to build something that matters. But when you do it from a place of being, then it's like you're aligned with the purpose of why you're doing it and the vision of why you're doing it. So whenever you come across your obstacles that inevitably will come, and the moments that you will fail, and the moments that you will not feel confident, like Jazza was saying earlier, you will not feel confident all the time, then you can go back to your North Star, your vision, your idea of, okay, well, there's a bigger purpose here. So it's okay if I completely like bombed this aspect of what I was doing. That's just part of the journey.
Yes. And I honestly do believe, like, a lot of people, and I'm going back to interview number 1, because I myself am a clarity coach, and I call my main course is called a Clarity Catalyst. And the main thing that we focus on is people think it's great idea, success. No, it's the complete opposite. It's great idea, success. Okay, I finally made it. Right? And it's crazy how we have this thought process, thanks to the magazines and the people in 3 months making 6 figures, thinking that it's this easy. No, behind those 3 months making 6 figures, they had a business for over 2 years, and they had no idea what the panda to do, and they had to really work on themselves to get there. And that's why Maria's thing is rock your life and business, right? You have to have your life there first. You need to know who you are and be that person to really make that business that you want. So I think that's amazing. Now, Maria, my next thought process is, there's a lot of strategies out there that we've started talking about, but how important are allies and allies, or however you say it, along the way? How important is that?
Oh, critical. I can't speak enough about what a change it's been in my life to really align myself and have allies with the right people, the right coaches, the right the right support systems, and really investing in yourself. Like, the name of the game here honestly is, women who invest in themselves will go further.
Yes.
Investing your time, investing your energy, and investing your money. I have a business coach. I have, I've had my own personal coaches. I believe in it so strongly because I've seen the great transformation. And it's the difference between continuing to spin your wheels for another 3 years or actually creating great results in your life in the next 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And what happens is that you put yourself in a container of someone or a group of people who believe in you, who are standing for your greatness, who are calling your own greatness forth, right? And helping you and helping you really tap into your self-mastery. You put yourself in that container and in that space, and you begin to, really focus in with a different level of commitment. And it does take a lot of commitment. It does take a lot of hard work. There's no active magic here. It's like, it's part magic, part strategy, because the being part and who you are and who you get to be in this life is almost like a really beautiful, magical process. And then you combine that with the strategy of, seeking out resources and people that will help you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do this alone. Jocelyn is not doing this alone. Nobody out there, listen to this. Nobody who you see is rocking it in any way, shape, or form is doing it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about that. And I'm glad you brought this up, because there's this big illusion of what you can do in 3 months and, 6-figure this and 7-figure that. And while all of that is in the realm of possibility, for sure, it doesn't happen overnight. And there is such value in, again, in working with someone hand in hand to make it happen, because there's a level of support and customization. And I call it, for a lot of my clients, it's like being a strategic hype woman. It's like, I'm going to coach you into your greatness, and I'm going to give you strategies that will support building your momentum and taking action and getting results. And I'm going to be your hype woman throughout the whole thing. And so many of us have never had that in our lives. We've never had someone who has been so dedicated to our success that it's like when you combine all those ingredients, it is inevitable that you will succeed for sure. So yeah, I could talk about this all day long.
Now, another thing that you mentioned, and it's true, allies are super important. That's why, like, Maria, you have an ally in me. It's not,
Thank
you
you.
also have a friend in me, but you have an
Likewise.
right? And I think that's the most beautiful thing, because a lot of times when I'm down, I can call up an ally, right? And I'll be like, I'm here. What do I do? Right? And that's super important. Other times I'll be like, oh my God, I'm launching this course. Can I have your help? And they'll be like, yeah, girl, I'll send a solo email out for you. Right? Yeah. And so it goes both ways with the and the yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the beauty of, you know, the more you get to know who you are and the more you align yourself with your own vision and your own being, the more you will attract the right support around you. And other amazing women who will lift you up, your allies, you know, everybody wants to find their tribe, right? And for a lot of herpreneurs, they might be going at it alone right now at home, sitting at home, not really having anybody who understands what they want to do. You know, it's like I was there. I had a great group of friends, but I didn't really have any entrepreneurs in my life. You know, it wasn't a common language for me in my circle. So I had to seek out other women, both in the professional sense and also in the social sense. The more I became aligned with who I was and what I wanted to do, that we're walking that path, not just talking about it, but actually walking that path.
Yeah.
And then we are able to collaborate with each other, support each other through the breakdowns and the let's rise together. And that's the awesome thing that gets to happen when you again put yourself in a space like this, where you connect with the other women who are watching this, make it a point to put yourself in lean into it. Because if you're looking for other soul sisters to help you out as you go on your journey, this is the perfect place to find them, because they get you. They will get you. They'll get the craziness. They'll get the dreams. They'll get the breakdowns. They'll get the moments when you're like, oh my God. And they'll celebrate you along the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, community is everything.
As a bonus here, if anyone that's watching this is not part of the Her Sisterhood group thus far, I think this is your opportunity here, right? Please make sure to join, because we've been talking about all the summits and the interviews that we've been going through and all that jazz and the action steps we've taken. So please join the fun and the craziness at the exact same time.
Yes.
Now, another thing I really want to talk about is celebration and verification, for that matter. And Maria's making faces like, oh my God, yes. And I think it's so important that even if we're talking about that blog post that has that one person that's following, that's celebratory. You have a raving fan, right? And people say you only need 1,000 raving fans to really become a six-figure earner. So even focusing on, for example, I know people that have been doing summits and they got 2K people and they're like, oh my God, yay, but they have no idea what to do with those people. And I've had people that have only gotten 200, 300 people in their summits, and they're messaging them every day, and all 200, 300 are raving fans now. So it depends really on how you celebrate it and act upon getting those people following you. And Maria's nodding her head over here. So I'm going to let her talk about how she celebrates and what she recommends, for that matter.
Oh, such a good talk. Yes. So it's all about perspective, right? Like your perspective as an entrepreneur has to be, that's part of your self-mastery, is your perspective being super healthy and really celebratory to yourself and all your accomplishments. And since we're all part of the Perfectionists Club, the way we are wired as women who are seeking more, as women who have high expectations, as women who are very driven and ambitious, those are the types of women that I work with. We can hit a home run and then be back at the dugout wondering how we're going to hit the other one, instead of celebrating that one home run.
Yeah.
Whether it's a home run or whether it's the one raving fan in your blog post, it's the same thing. It's all about perspective. So it's both celebrating when in your impression, it may not be oh, I could have done better. Really take a moment to anchor yourself back in a space of abundance instead of scarcity, because that's what you'll attract more of. Mm-hmm. And you'll be able to serve that one fan will multiply, and because you're going to be your energy is just going to attract them. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, from a place of, oh my God, tear.
Yeah.
So perspective. And when you have a great win in your business and in your life, just really celebrate that too. Because when we don't celebrate, when we don't, like, you know, something great happens, whether it's, again, it's the one fan or you got 1,000 fans all of a sudden, we don't pause and celebrate that and create like a benchmark for, all right, that was great. Congratulations. Like, pat yourself in the back, like really feel proud. Then what happens is you keep stretching yourself into more and more and more and more, and you lose sight of the growth that you are building. And in order to keep sustaining a business and keep sustaining an entrepreneurial journey, you have to have the fuel of that confidence of knowing that you're doing it, that you got this, and so the way you create that also is creating little pockets and moments of like, all right, you reached like a threshold. Like, celebrate your first 100 followers on Instagram. Celebrate when you have, like, I have a chart right here. I have my Instagram tracker, and every time I reach a certain like little milestone, I click it off and I'm like, yeah. And every time I get a new Instagram fan, I'll literally say out loud, like, hey, Jaslyn, welcome. Like, you know, it's like every person matters on your journey, and every person will hear your message in a different way, and in the moment they need to hear it. But you need to be absolutely celebratory and have a lot of pride. I'm so glad you brought this up, because again, because we're wired to succeed, we're like, no, that's not good enough. I can do better. I can do more. And that is the sneakiest form of self-sabotage, ladies, that we can ever put on ourselves. And when we stop that, we open up energy for so much more. And that's what the world needs from us, is to really shine our light and own our inner power in a way that empowers others to do the same. So yes, celebration all day long.
That was amazing. Thank you. Now, the last thing I really want to mention, and if you want to go off a little tangent about this, please do, is it's all about the journey, not the destination. So a lot of people focus on, okay, let me focus on getting here into this success and becoming a 6-figure earner, but they're not enjoying the process. There's a huge friggin' problem. And that's why we talk about celebration and getting allies and having fun along the way and hype and inspiration, because if that ain't happening, you're not going to get here. And even if you do, you're going to get there. And just like what Maria was talking about, if you're a perfectionist and you're that type of person, you're going to get there, and then now there's a new success. And then you get there, there's a new success, and you don't continue, and you continue that process. That's where health problems come in. That's where cancer comes in. That's where all this stuff that comes out that you don't want, and these toxins. So make sure to take care of yourself along the way. And if Maria, if you want to add something to that, please do.
Yeah. I mean, along the journey, like really, you're never going to get there. Like when you think about it, especially when you're wired for success and for great things in your life and for creating amazing, magical things, which again, I'm sure everybody out there is, you're never going to get there because there's always more for you to create. And so I found that it has been helpful for me in my own journey is accepting the fact that I'm always going to be wired to create something new. And so I embrace the journey and I embrace the process because I get to uncover and discover more of myself every single day. Before I used to think like, all right, I'm going to work up to this point and yay. But then what happens? You work up to that point and then there's something else and then there's something else and then there's something else. And in the meantime, you become so disconnected and like not aware of what's happening. And so enjoying the journey and becoming present and becoming mindful and becoming really connected to who you are, looking outside of yourself, really appreciating, celebrating, focusing on that being, who do you get to be right now in your life without the apparent success? That is where you'll find your true self-mastery and your true sense of joy. That joy comes not from checking something off on your list of life achievements, but rather in who you get to be as you approach those beautiful achievements that you have in mind. And then when you get there, they'll be that much more beautiful and that much more significant. And it'll take the edge off of, if I don't do that, then I'm not successful. That's not true. And so embracing the journey, as cliche as it is, it's not the destination, it's embracing the journey, is a really worthwhile way to look at your life and look at particularly when you're building a business, because there's so many check marks along the way that we want to follow, that we lose sight of the fact that you're getting to do something really powerful and really amazing. You know, it's like, how do you love every part of the process, including the celebrations that lead you to your final destination? And then what happens after that? Because there's always more.
And the failures too, being able to appreciate the failures and learn lessons from them along the way. And I think it's really important that we mention to not quit. Don't quit. Don't quit on yourself. Don't quit on your business. If you want to rebrand, but don't quit. Just keep moving forward no matter what that looks like. Or you can do, Finding Dory's way, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming. What do I do? Right? So just
swim.
Yes. So if you keep swimming and moving forward, shift is going to happen. And mind you, I said shift is gonna happen. It may not be as fast as you want, or it may, or maybe faster, and you're like, holy panda. There's only one way to know, and that's keep moving forward.
Yes.
So with that said, and Maria's all about taking action on that jazz, we're gonna talk about one action step that you can really take today to rock your life and your business. Maria, what would
I love that. I'm all about taking action and really, success loves speed. So what I want you to do is, after you click off this interview, I want you to pick one thing that you've been wanting to do for a long time that haven't done. Maybe it's finally doing that Instagram live or the Facebook live. Maybe it's posting that post that you created 3 months ago and you're like, I really want to post this, but I'm not sure if I can do it. Whatever little tiny thing is already there, is fully baked, it's created. I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to imagine that Jaslyn and I are holding you hand in hand, and you do it. And I guarantee you, I promise you, that once you do that, you will unlock a power within you that is beyond measure, like superpower status, because you will finally prove to yourself that little thing that you've been terrified to do, you could do it. And then it'll make it easier to do the other little thing. So that is my challenge to all of you today, is to literally take an action that has been lingering. We all have them. So just pick one and make it happen. And I promise you, you will transform just because of that.
And if you're completely like, oh my gosh, she's really testing me, like these two women are driving me up a wall right now, Maria has a free gift that she's offering to kind of help guide you along the way. So I'm gonna let Maria talk more about that. Go ahead, honey.
Yes. So this is my Design Your Life Starter Kit. So one of my core philosophies is to live a life by design, not by default. So the Design Your Life Starter Kit is a little video, and there's a worksheet also that is going to help you begin to, what we talked about at the beginning of the interview, like articulate what are the things that you want to do, and begin to like unpack that box. Write some things down, begin to narrow some things, and begin to take inspired action towards what you want to create in a way that feels very accessible and sort of easy to follow. So I'm excited for you guys to access it, download it, use it. It also comes with a couple of fun phone wallpapers in case you want to jazz up your phone. So yeah, I'm really proud to share that, because I know it's a useful resource.
Thank you. And thank you, Maria, for having me and having you here. And this has been an amazing process. And honestly, this interview was a lot of fun. So I'm happy to have you a part of this. And really, I'm honored. I'm honored to see your summit from day one to the end. And I was so impressed that there was no way I couldn't have had you on the summit. It feels like it was just meant to be.
Thank you, Jaslyn. I'm equally impressed by you and what you're creating. I think you're absolutely amazing, and an absolute honor for this to be my very first summit guest appearance. I will treasure this moment forever. And you guys, really rocking your life is a way of being. And when you align yourself with women like Jaslyn, when you align yourself with women like me, just know that we're here. We're just a click away, literally an email away. Like take us up on that offer to connect, because a lot can open up when you begin to reach out and really truly connect with those other like sisters in arms. So, so yeah, go forth and rock your life. And again, Jasmine, thank you so, so much for the honor to be a part of this. It was very special and a lot of fun. Yeah, for sure.
My pleasure. And ladies, I will see you again soon. Mwah. Bye.